specific classifications. In this book, we classify traditional media as follows. Ceremonial media. These are celebrations and gatherings that create platform for exchange of ideas, information dissemination within traditional media setting. There are celebrations and gatherings used to fulfill cultural demands. They include child naming ceremonies, traditional weddings, festivals, initiation into traditional institutions such as chieftaincy, initiation into manhood or womanhood, and other such social groups. For instance, here, this is a traditional wedding, and it's a form of, transmission of cultural heritage. This couple is engaged in fulfillment of cultural demands before becoming husband and wife. And this is a form of transmission of cultural heritage. The young man here is with the wife. Here, he is kneeling before the father-in-law. The young man here is drinking from the cup presented to him by the wife, and that also signifies meaning within traditional media setting. These are boys that are engaged in initiation ceremony, boys from the Xhosa tribe in South Africa. They've undergone a deadly circumcision ceremony as pictured here, but even though some of them died, the ceremony is still valued within their community, and that is a form of indigenous communication in their specific community. The ceremonial media communicates in specific ways through the dressing. You see here they're communicating too. Passing through the process is also a form of communication. Here, this is an initiation ritual of boys in Malawi, boys aged 9 to 10 of the Yao tribe in Malawi, participating in circumcision and initiation rites. This is also a form of communication, so we classify all such ceremonies as ceremonial media because they create platform for information dissemination and exchange of ideas. Symbolic flora. This refers to use of plants in information sharing and dissemination. Several plants are used to communicate within traditional media setting. Here we have the fresh palm frond. Fresh palm fronds referred to as omo. You also use the green leaves we mentioned earlier during other forms of classification. Use the green leaves, use the twine from a tree. Of course, you can use the twine to go for a ceremony. You don't want to present the cow physically, you can present a twine. Here you use, you can see the palm frond, that is omo, tied on a tree to signify sacredness, or that no one should pluck fruits from the tree. The omo or palm frond plays significant role in traditional media setting. Some refer to it as local injunction. It is used to signify sacredness, used to signify no-go area. That is the omo or fresh palm frond playing significant role in traditional communication. We also have the symbolic fauna. In this group, you have animals that are used to communicate. It refers to use of animals or animal parts in information sharing and dissemination. You can use the white pigeon to communicate, the white cock, tiger skin, feathers of the birds. You use them to communicate. Here you're talking about sacrifice. You use the animals to sacrifice, and they signify meaning. The kind of animal we present for sacrifice also conveys a meaning. Here, a man in a trance dances with a sacrificed goat above his head during a voodoo celebration. So, animals are used to communicate in various ways in traditional media setting, and here we'll classify them as symbolic fauna. That is that. A woman here is also using an animal during a local celebration. Location media. These are venue-based platforms for information dissemination. People are often seen at these places for economic, social, and other domestic purposes. Examples are streams, village square, town halls, market square, schools, health center, churches, mosques, and traditional worship centers. Change agents or communication agents engaged in development communication could visit such places because you could find the relevant audience there. Women going to the stream, women going to marketplaces. You can discuss with them there, pass across information, exchange ideas with them in such settings. faith-based modes of communication. This refers to communication activities premised on the belief that spirits speak with the living. This consists of all forms of divination, spiritual chants, incantations, spirit-mediated curses, invocations, all kinds of messages from the dead. It also includes worship of unseen beings, prayers, and relationship with the spirit world. Now, this was, and still remains a common practice within specific settings, and this is an indigenous communication form. Here you see a pastor within the Christian faith casting out demons from a church member. The spiritual setting here is that people engage in the spiritual setting here is such that people engage in prayers, engage in various forms of casting out of demons, and that was a way to communicate. That is within the sphere of what Professor Des Wilson referred to as extramundane communication. And here, libation is also a form of communication in African settings. Here is a video of elders performing libation in Africa, specifically in a community in Ghana. So libation is a form of communication in a traditional media setting. Here you see various kinds of faith-based modes of communication. The chief priest or the native doctor also communicates with the spirit beings. People consult him, and then he presents or he makes incantations or tells them messages from the spirit world. Here is a church group, a local church group. They engage in group communication. They engage in all forms of prayers and incantations, and these groups are part of society. So if there's a message that is to be passed across, these groups can also pass them across to their specific units, their specific kindreds and families. Here they are engaged in extramundane communication, and that was a part of the people's culture. Here are churches. Here people are praying, and that is also extramundane communication. Here you find the traditional worship facilities, a kind of shrine, a voodoo shrine. Here you have a voodoo shrine too. So the extramundane communication patterns existed and still exist within traditional media settings in specific African societies. Soundless voices. This refers to the nonverbal channels that communicate through body movements or kinesics, signs, and expressions. They include facial expressions and tribal marks, tattoos, sticking out of the tongue, waving of hand, and squatting or lying down to show respect to elders. In some cultures, they are soundless but very loud and clear when expressing meanings. Here, there's a tattoo on the arm of a woman who is a voodoo worshipper. In fact, the tattoo is a tattoo of Mami Water. It is seen on the arm of a voodoo devotee at a voodoo festival in Benin Republic. And this is a way of expressing, telling people that she is loyal to this water goddess. And here, people are prostrated to greet a traditional ruler, and that is how in their own society, the people there greet titled men, traditional rulers, and elders. They prostrate to do that in their society. Here you see the use of tribal marks to express meanings. It tells people where the specific society, the specific ethnic group these people are from. And here you see stooping to greet an elder, and that's a way of showing respect. A woman here is stooping to greet the President of Nigeria, Muhammad Buhari, and that is a way of communicating respect in specific societies.